talk about the wolves and different people that paint this picture that they're surrounded in wolves. Why do you think there's such a misunderstanding? I mean, I've heard that. What's the old slogan that some of the Upers use? I forgot what it's called. There's a three-letter word they use,
Shoot,
basically
shovel,
saying,
and shut up.
yeah. So they basically shoot them in the guts, right? Like let them run away. But that's not the answer to kill all the wolves either, right? Like
No.
you need a healthy balance.
Well, I'm a strong proponent of sound scientific management of all of our resources, and that would not be any different for me with the wolf. I think the key to kind of quelling the unrest and bringing solutions to bear is that you have to put the wolf in the asset column, because right now the wolf is really not an asset in most people's eyes. Well, how do you do that? If you look at the history of conservation, we assign value to an animal, and that puts it in the asset column. That's how conservation works. And once the wolf can be legally record-setting winners in the Upper Peninsula, where we got more than 368 inches of snowfall, it absolutely devastated our deer herds. We lost roughly 500,000 deer, if not more, between those 2 winters. So on the heels of that, you have a budding wolf population, and the correlation in many hunters' minds is the wolves got here and then the deer all disappeared. But like I explained, there was tertiary factors. It's timber harvest practices. It's UP winters. It's not as simple as the wolves got here and then the deer all died.
And like I said, people blame everything on the wolves as far as the deer population there. You know, that's number one. Like you hear anybody talk about why they didn't shoot a deer in the UP, it's because of the wolves. That's
Right.
the for us. That's the only thing I ever hear. Actually, I don't ever hear bears. I don't hear coyotes. It's all just the wolf.
But to
And
be
I mean, you think of a UP or Uper deer, the stuff they have to survive just to make it through a season is incredible. If they make it through the predators, you have to make it through Mother Nature.
Yeah, it is a brutal land up here, and it is hungry country. I mean, we have monstrous winters, we have habitat problems, we have an entire suite of apex predators. We've got coyotes, we've got bears, and I'd like to point out there too, we are at an all-time record high for black bear populations in the UP. We've surpassed 10,000 black bears and climbing. We've got wolves, we've got bobcats, we've got lynx. I mean, there is all kinds of stuff out there that's taking its pound of flesh from the deers, and the hunters probably aren't top of the list.
What are you hearing from the DNR as far as their take on it? Are they going to try to change it? Are they? I mean, what are they going to do to fix this problem that we have right now in the UP?
Well, I think the DNR is pretty much caught between a rock and a hard place, to be honest with you, because the first step is that management authority has to be returned to the states. And as I explained, it's currently tied up federally because the wolves are on the ESL. So there's a problem there. Unless we were to do like some of the Western states have, like Wyoming and Montana, Alaska, who have strong governors, strong legislatures that are really behind the outdoor resources. And they simply told the federal government, yeah, no, we're going to take care of business. Unfortunately, that isn't the great state of Michigan. That's not the dynamics that we have. So it's going to be a complex political issue. And I expect there's going to be more lawsuits to come before it's all over. And I couldn't begin to fathom, Steve, when or if there's wolf management coming. But it has been the very distinct position of the department that they will support wolf management.
I mean, it's even like deer hunting. You have all these politicians involved in our state in deer hunting and regulations and all this crap. And it's like anytime you get them involved, you can expect nothing to happen fast. Everything gets drawn out, becomes a big political circus. And like even with that though, I feel like people down in Lansing shouldn't be telling anybody in the UP how to hunt. Shouldn't be setting your regulations. Shouldn't be, because no one that lives down there knows what goes on in your world. I mean, you're basically you're part of Michigan, but you're not. I mean, everything about the UP is a whole different world. And the fact that they can tell you guys, like, as far as the wolves or the deer or anything, without ever stepping foot there, is pretty ridiculous on my opinion.
Well, there's only so much that we can say, really. I mean, we can go down there and we can share our stories and we can share our experiences. We can pound our fist on the table. But at the end of the day, there's very little that we can do until the authority is returned to the state of Michigan.
Now, in your area, do you think it's just is it a pretty low population of wolves? I mean, you said you haven't really ever seen much out there. Do you have neighbors that see them?
So, for purposes of hunting, I'll cover 4 to 5 counties a year, which might not sound like much to someone from the lower peninsula, but you could
That's a lot.
probably fit 10 of your counties into one of mine. So I'm covering thousands of miles a year in my truck, my ATV, wearing out 2 pairs of boots. I see a lot of country. And are there wolves out there? Yeah, there sure are. And like I said earlier, there's pockets, right? You run into them here or there, but they're not blanketed across the whole UP. A lot of the stories I hear out of the east end of the UP, it seems like those guys are struggling with some higher densities of wolves based on the things that I'm hearing. But, if you look at a map of the UP, examine the geography, the eastern UP is a very narrow landmass compared to the western UP. So I think that just by virtue of landmass that there is to occupy and the number of hunters perhaps in those areas, that would explain the frequency of encounters in the eastern UP compared to the west.